Hey guys, welcome back to the Joe Silverback Show. I'm your host, Joe Bunton, and today while I was down at the seashore, I was writing one of the chapters in my Sepley novel and in my Silverback book about some of the first lessons that I was learning from my mentor about becoming a good silverback, about becoming a better man, a stronger partner, mate, husband, and father. One of the things that Martin wisely got me trained in at an early time, and I learned it more from how he did, watching him and observing him, than and then practicing it myself. And it was awkward at first, and that was praise and recognition and acknowledgement of the other. So, first, when Martin and I were bonding and forming this relationship, it was pretty clear to me early on that he was building me up. He was building up my confidence, but he was also building up my confidence only in areas that he truly believed in and that were genuine. And that's the qualifier for praise and recognition and acknowledgement that I want to pass on to you today, is that with yourself first, with your husband or your wife or your partner or your child or your boss or your coworker, praise, recognition, and acknowledgement must first and foremost always only be done when you truly are aware and recognizing a positive quality in another human being. I asked Martin, one of the questions that I asked him was, what if, because he told me that I should do this on a daily basis with Corinne, who was my wife and my partner, and I'm like, well, what if she doesn't deserve it? And then, he basically said, then you're not a good enough man. And what he meant by sticking pie in my face was, if you don't recognize what this woman is bringing to you, and vice versa, if you women don't recognize what this man is bringing to you, then you're not good enough, you're not deep enough, you're not aware enough. Now, of course, this is all based on each one of us selecting wisely and selecting a good mate, a good partner, which I did. So the issue wasn't about whether or not I could praise. No, the issue wasn't about whether or not Corinne was praiseworthy. The issue was I worthy of recognizing the qualities that she was bringing to me? And they can, you can count them on your hand if you want, or you can count them on your hands and your toes. It doesn't matter. Look at them, identify them. When my wife died, I remembered something that my mentor told me, because I was deeply, deeply devastated, depressed, broken. And I remember Martin telling me over and over and over again, if you are truly thankful, it is impossible to be sad, angry, or depressed. So I went down, and the second thing that he told me was, if you think about the other, you get outside of yourself. So I went down to the seashore, and I began to write a thank you letter to my wife. And 15 pages later, I started by saying, thank you for knitting me the first cardigan you ever knit me. To thank you for knitting me all the sweaters you knit over the 17 years we were together. Thank you for making our children beautiful clothes with your own hands. Thank you for caring enough to bring us the best, highest quality food every day. 15 pages later, I was overflowing with gratitude and appreciation for what this one human being had brought to me over 17 years. Does that mean that she was not a pain in my side? Yes. No. I mean, no, it doesn't mean that. Does it mean that we didn't fight? No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean there weren't difficulties. It means that praise, recognition, and acknowledgement is a way in which I, as a silverback, and you as a silverback, or you as a mate of a silverback, can recognize your partner, your mate, your husband, your wife, honestly, genuinely, and always from here. So I had to train myself, because I expanded this beyond my home. I expanded this with my boss at work, who was a one-eyed, pirate-looking, 350-pound chef who just, he and his wife owned a restaurant, and he just shredded her in front of the whole staff every day. He was such a perfectionist. He wanted every single dish to be perfect, and he would just break dishes and throw things and yell and scream and tell everybody that he was going to drag them out in the parking lot and stomp on them if they didn't, perfect what he wanted. Except me. He never raised his voice to me. He never called me names. He never put me down or criticized me in front of the group. And that's very powerful to understand why. And I think that there are a couple reasons. One, he respected me. Now, he was a gourmand. He was a French chef, Southern French and Northern Italian cuisine of the highest 5-star ratings. And I was eating organic almonds and organic dates and drinking kefir. And that's what I would bring to work. And he would be looking at me, not touching any of his specialties that all the other waiters and bartenders and servers and busboys and everybody loved to eat. So we joked about it. Everybody joked about it. It was funny. But it was principle, and it was my principle. In that moment, it was Joe Silverback being principled about something. Secondly, although the guy was a jerk and deserving of being smacked on the head with a gigantic pan that knock him out sometimes, I learned how to reach him and reach the child in him through the principles of praise, recognition, and acknowledgement. So going back to our partners, our mates, we go to church, some of us. We go to synagogue, some of us. We go to mosques, temples, sanctuaries, sacred places, nature. We meditate, we contemplate, we reflect. We give thanks to forces outside of our family unit, but do we give thanks and recognition to that individual who is sharing our bed with us, sharing our home with us, providing for us, taking care of us, nurturing us? It's the hardest person to acknowledge and recognize and give praise to. And if you want to turn around a relationship, if you want to also develop a relationship to where it evolves into something solid, start looking at how you can find the good qualities in your partner and bring them to the surface. Number 2, in line with this, taking nice, long, slow walks. I was going to say romantic, because to me, most of the time, walking with my woman becomes romantic. Taking walks with my woman taking walks with your partner, it synchronizes the energies that can so easily in a daytime get disparate. So at the end of the day, take your woman or take your man and go on a walk. Don't tell him or her anything, just take him, take her. Hold his hand, hold her hand, and just let the walking be something that is synchronizing. And you'll see that just walking gets a lot of negative energies out of the way. And you'll also see that soon, if you can just allow things to dissipate, you'll be talking about things that you want to talk to your partner about, but sometimes the tensions indoors mount up too much. Praise, recognition, acknowledgement, and taking a stroll under the open sky, anywhere in nature, and the sky is part of nature, and there's no excuse not to go out in the evening under the open sky. None at all. Namaste.